my game. Today we're going to be checking out some of your games. Just get my mic to the right level because someone was saying it was very boomy in a recent stream. And those of you who were in yesterday's stream will see I've still got lots of sound files on my desktop called sound_mouth monster because that's what we were working on yesterday. But today is our regular supporter stream where I will be playing games made by members of our Discord. Just need to get my chat visible on here because I can't see it at the moment. And yeah, we used to do one of these a month that was just dedicated to folks' games who were sort of directly supporting the channel. Now I do two of these because we got a bit more time. But I only have 2 hours today before I've got to dash off to do some other stuff. So we are going to try and spend 15 minutes max on each game. I've got 8 games in the queue, and I would like to make sure that we get through all of them today. If we don't, it's fine. They will just get priority next time in 2 weeks when we do this in 2 Wednesdays' time. So let me just work out where my chat has gone, and while I'm doing that I will get the first game loaded up and then I will say hello to you. Gravity Kills is the first game on the list, which should be downloaded already. It's just finishing downloading. So Gravity Kills is untested prototype. This is very early on. The art style looks quite developed for very early on. Interested to see what kind of thing this is. I'm not going to be able to read lots and lots of the detail on each of these if we're going to get a good solid 15 minutes of gameplay on each one, but let's just see how intuitive the games are at teaching themselves. Because you can give people as much information as you want up front on the itch page, but there will still be people that need the information to be in the game itself. So I'm getting some weird technical stuff going on today. Wouldn't be the first time. There we go. Okay. Let's get Gravity Kills working, and then as we look at the start screen, I can work out what's going on in chat. Because I can't see it. I can't see it in my Streamlabs, and I don't know where it's gone. It's opened on the right screen, which is a good start. Thanks for whoever the other day told me how to quickly force something onto the other screen. Right, I can see you guys coming up on the chat in my monitor, but I don't actually have the usual... Ah, there we go. Got it. I got it. I got it. There we go. So if you've sent a message, whether you're on Twitch or YouTube, I wouldn't have seen it yet, so feel free to send it again. But good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Let's get started. I'm going to set a timer for... I'm going to call it 14 minutes for each game, and we're just going to get some kind of first impressions. So I tend to front load the games that we haven't seen before. This is one of those. Excellent. Instructions in game. Good to do. I would do this as soon as possible in whatever game you're working on, because just means you don't have to learn something before you open the game, and you don't have to build a tutorial. Right, we're WASDing. We're swinging a wrench with Q. We're pushing buttons and throwing boxes with E, and we're grabbing and releasing boxes with F. Okay, press E to switch. Few guns and abilities. Oh, lots and lots of content. Okay. Get all guns and abilities with H. I don't want to do that. I want to be given things in the game. Okay, so I really like the visual style of this so far. I don't like using the mouse to aim and not having anything to do with the mouse buttons. It feels really awkward. It's a real bugbear of mine. Like, it's fine to have a totally keyboard controlled thing, but as soon as you use the mouse, then people expect to use the mouse button. So I would have left to attack and right to pick up and grab, or the other way around, depending on which is the main thing you do more often in the game. Press F to grab a box. That feels nice. Be good to have like a looping sound effect for when you've got that little gravity box thing going on. Is this a thing that you can interact with? Stands out quite a lot. Okay. Hold and release. Okay, so I don't have to hold F while I'm carrying the box. And then I just hold to charge a throw. And then we're going to throw it over. This is feeling pretty good. I like all of the gameplay. The UI could obviously use a bit of polish. But I like what I'm seeing so far. Press Q to swing your wrench and... Yeah, having that as a letter on the keyboard rather than the mouse just feels really awkward. Big box. I'll grab the big box. I throw the box at him. Yeah. See, from this, I can see you've got lots of different weapons, and I guess maybe it's kind of like treating the game as a lab and just throwing as much content into it as early as possible to see what works. And I sort of respect that, and I think that's a good way of working, but I think at some point you're probably going to find that some of this stuff is unnecessary, because just making a decent gravity gun game is probably satisfying what a lot of people want in and of itself. Like, I don't know if we need an amazing gravity gun game with then 5 other weapons or something, but it looks like they're all gravity themed, so... It's definitely a kind of valid way to make a game, is to just add as much content as you can and then see what works. But then you need to not be too wedded to it, because some of it will not work. Keep clicking to try and attack. So the holding things and charging up to throw them It's a bit strange because I press the button on the keyboard to pick the thing up and then I kind of keep forgetting and holding it when I don't need to hold it. So it goes into this sort of mode where you're carrying it and then you charge with the throw button. I think this is going to need a lot of iterations on the kind of control design, and I don't necessarily think my sort of gut reaction of what I think it should be is necessarily right, but so that blue wall is a wall I can walk on. That's very cool. That feels really nice. It's a bit dizzying, but I mean that's what people are coming to a game like this for. So I'm on the wall now, and what's that? You got the slide ability. I feel like that should be on shift. Yeah, that was in a very intuitive location, the slide. I think if you want the game to be easier to navigate as well, one of the things I would do... Oh yeah, you do have... the walls are always purple and the floors and ceilings are always grey. Yeah, that makes sense. Need key number 1. Excuse me. Up there. Did that get him? Oh. Whack-a-doodle. I want to kill you using physics, but if you keep getting up in my grill, I will kill you using the power of a wrench. How do I switch to a shot? I'm getting lots of shotgun ammo that I can't use. Maybe that's a good way of signaling that you will eventually get a shotgun without prematurely giving people the shotgun, though. Meanies. Yeah, I will try and change the auto ducking and make it less extreme. It's very difficult to test these things because you just end up having to constantly record yourself and tweak it, and if you're like a normal streamer that plays a game for a week, that works. So yeah, we need audio for wall changes. We should have a sort of looping sound when you pick one of these up. And this whole game is very, very ripe for doing reactive music, where, you know, when you've picked something up, like an instrument cuts out, and then when you throw it, it cuts back in again. That would be a good thing later on. But that's all kind of polished stuff. But definitely not as complex as it sounds, and can usually be. There's usually libraries for it on whatever engine you're working with. It's such a common thing to need. Need key number 1. Okay, I need to go back over to that bit I was at where I jumped over here. I'm not finding the level design particularly disorienting, which is strange considering how much we're doing weird stuff with our orientation and everything, so that's good. But if I compare it to what was it called? The game that we saw last month, The Radiation is Cosmic, which sort of has a slightly similar, you know, almost abstract sci-fi vibe. I found it very easy to get lost in that, and I think it's because the spaces weren't as contained. There was a lot of like being in really big open spaces and being able to see really far. Yeah, so throwing things feels like it's going to be one of the main weapons, but having it on E is really awkward because it's not a single shot thing. So having to like occasionally hold it and walk around, like I can't, basically the finger that I'm using to hold down E is my finger for using D. So I would have to, I'm now having to press D with my thumb if I want to walk right. So That's definitely a candidate for putting on a click or something, because I don't think having it oriented so you have to use your WASD fingers to do it is a good call there. You've got, you've got a pretty complex set of traversal and combat mechanics here, so you're gonna have to go through those controls a few times and work out what works best as a standard set. It's gonna take a while. It's just nature of the complexity of the game in those areas, you know. So I am getting a bit lost, not too badly though, and it's a fun kind of lost. It's like what I experienced in the more open levels later on in Blood Thief, where I would be missing something and going around, but to be honest, like running around being lost feels quite fun, so it's not really a problem. Ah. Okay, mouse wheel to switch to the shotgun. That feels pretty nice. It may be worth going with something deeper. It feels the sound feels a bit weak. Someone was saying in the Discord yesterday, I can't remember who it was. Might have been you, Claim, was talking about how you sort of sit and imagine the sounds and make them with your mouth before you kind of look for them. And yeah, that works for me as well. I tend to put SFX sort of 8-bit sounds into things straight away if I'm not making an 8-bit game, because you can just block out the sort of how deep you want a sound to be, how deep and how long and stuff like that. But with a shotgun, I would always go for like what people expect, which is sort of deep and boomy. But I guess maybe you want to make it feel weak in comparison to some other gun we get later on or something, but yeah, I mean, with the game I'm currently working on, it works with the aesthetic of the game, but I've been doing a lot of sound effects with my mouth. And I put them in as placeholder, but some of them will probably end up staying in there, and I'll just layer them up with more things. Squish! That was good. Right, we're gonna have to move on from this in a minute. This is coming along really nicely. I think the adding sound in the most common thing, adding sound in the most like commonly repeated actions, like picking things up and throwing them and riding the walls and stuff, is going to make a big difference to the game feel here. But yeah, I like what I see here. I don't know what your sort of long-term plan is for this, but I could imagine having different areas where you just swap out the key colors of a few things, kind of like they do in Ape Out. Because it makes a big difference if you then have like a, oh, now we're in the red and black area, now we're in the green and purple area or whatever. Because you've got like a color palette that only has, 2 or 3 things in it. You can do quite a lot of changes from area to area by changing the like 2 or 3 textures and then the general vibe of the area of like how open and closed it is and stuff like that. I'm liking what I see here. It's good. It's good. Let me just see if I can turn some harsh off on that compressor. Turn the ratio down on the compressor for the... And the attack, make the attack longer. I think that will do it. I've been doing music for like 20 years and I still don't really understand what all the settings on a compressor are. I'm just sort of like deliberately ignorant about it. Twilight Feline. So a lot of these games, if you're watching on YouTube, I've put links to the games in the description of the stream where I can, but some of them are not public demos yet. So this is one of those. This is one that I've got private access to. We're going to be a cat, I think. We're going to do some cat stuff. Hunting rodents that are napping. Taking cat naps, being close to the owner. These are things that build up your mojo. Covering the house in your scent. Being naughty, but don't get caught. Okay, excellent. So is this a rebuild of the cat platformer we had in the Game Jam a few months ago? Because it kind of has some, it feels like the same sort of movement. We've got a different art style, but... Leave scent. I'm going to scent the gramophone. That's a fun animation. I like the kind of Paper Mario type thing going on when the cat walks into the... So we got some blurry pixel art here. I don't know what's causing that, but it's a little bit confusing from a gameplay perspective because this shelf is solid and I can stand on it, and that blurriness makes it feel like it's trying to push it out of my mind, you know? That blurriness could serve a purpose. It could be a deliberate art style choice, but at the moment what it reads as is this is not solid. Interact with that. What am I doing? I found a bug. I get it. Yeah. I really like being able to jump and whack them. That makes you feel very cat-like. Just going to try and tweak the auto docking again. Is that doing anything? I think maybe that's it. We don't have loads of sound in this game anyway. We've got some cute sounds. Hello. I'm going to scent you. Yeah, it makes you feel very much like you are being a cat when you jump and do a slash at the same time. A bug. That's great. Get a bit of slowdown in the air, which is a shame because it stops the pounce feeling quite as dramatic. I think there's a little bit of collision between like doing this horizontal dash to get a bug and the way the platforming works. So I think there might be a situation where sometimes we dive and we want to jump past the platform we're on, but we can't because we kind of go up onto it. And that feels a little bit like it's getting in the way of the fantasy of being a cat hunting bugs. It's very sweet though. I think the feature set is very good, like in terms of, you know, providing you what you would want from a cat simulator. We can build... Wow, okay. What are these? A laser on each end that deals 2 damage to the same colour. What on earth? Moves enemy up or down 1 row and deals... We've got a totally different game in this game. And I don't understand. We're going to just put traps in the bathroom? Is that what we're doing? I've got 70 mojo. Okay. Deals 1 damage to any colour. Up to this point, I haven't seen what the color coding corresponds to, so I don't really understand what is going on here. It's because the color coding here seems like it means something, but also I don't really have context for what that means at this stage in the game. So, see incoming spirit fish along the right side of the house. Use mojo you collected to set traps and stop the incoming spirit fish. Click start wave after you've set your traps. Okay. So yeah, I'm sort of having to set my traps before I have the full context for what the trap descriptions really mean. So when I press continue now, I'll probably see red and blue stuff and I go, oh yeah, that's what that means. But at the moment, I don't know. Start wave. Finish the fish after they fall. Okay. So this is the sort of supernatural bit. We get some... these remind me of those big holographic koi you get in Cyberpunk in the parade. We zoomed in a bit now. Okay. Yeah, this section of the game feels a bit less cooked than the platformer bit. Spirit fish will need to take 3 damage. Spirit fish will either be pink or blue in color. Okay. So they either change color to the trap they just went through, or I'm not sure I fully understand this puzzle yet. Ah. You can flip them around. That's what I needed. But I don't have enough mojo, so... I think if you have this kind of building system, you need to allow people a bit more currency to start off with so that they can experiment, because I'm now stuck and I can't get rid of these things and try different combinations. I sort of like the idea. I like what we're going for thematically here, which is like the cat has some secret mission that the humans don't understand. But yeah, I'm sort of locked into this build now that is sort of only working by fluke, really. I can't edit it. Okay, I got some mojo from that. But I've lined pink up with pink and blue up with blue, which means that I'm usually not gonna get what I need. And what does this do? Deals 1 damage to any color. Okay. What I'm gonna start this again because I like the idea of it, but it's just I haven't soft locked myself, but it's something like, you know, a soft lock. Looks like when my cats are staring into nothing and getting alarmed. Yeah, I think that's what we're going for here. They can see the ghosty fish that... Hello, owner. Hello, owner. So Smug in the chat, we're talking about this. Yeah, this stream used to be monthly. I'm trying to do it every 2 weeks at the moment because the backlog was getting more full. So this is like the bonus stream that is for people that support the channel on Patreon or YouTube memberships or whatever, where we focus on your games. I would say, because you're asking about what to submit when, I would say if you've made considerable changes and you actually want feedback on the thing, then submit it. But if it's more a visibility thing, I mean, look, we've got 30 people watching now. And... yeah, maybe sort of 500 to 1,000 will watch this back after. It really depends. So, submit stuff that you want feedback on. I would say don't submit stuff just to try and get visibility on the project, because you'll get that eventually anyway, even if you only submit every 2 or 3 months. So that would be my guiding idea of when to submit your games. If we've seen it in the last month and you've just made little tweaks, then yeah, then it's probably not worth continuing to resubmit it, because I won't be able to tell the difference. Especially when I'm only playing these things for like 10 minutes. This, I like the stinky waves. We can tell that... do I have time to be naughty and break something before? We got loads of mojo this time. So the kind of, I like the kind of economic loop of this, of you collect a currency by doing cat stuff, and then you use it to do this bit of the game. But it was in the Jesse Shell book, there's this kind of, one of the lenses is what's the weirdest thing in your game? Because the weirdest thing in your game is going to be the thing that needs the most care and attention to explain to players to get them to understand, right? And the weirdest thing in your game will be the thing that you're excited about because it's the most, it's the USP, it's the secret sauce of the game. But it's going to be, by nature of it being different, it will need more explanation. So this switch to this, it's like we kind of need to show the fish before we ask people to build, and we also need to make sure they've got enough currency to really play this mini game the first time they play it. So when you're structuring this later on, when we're past this initial playtesting and you're starting to think about the overall structure, I would make sure you give like players some bonus currency or something at the beginning, just to make sure that you don't give them a bad idea of what this mini game is and what's cool about it and stuff like that, because it's cool. It's like a little wave defense, tower defense thing. Okay, so we're missing out on damage there, so we'd do one of these there and then flip this round. And then maybe here we'll do some movers and some shakers. Let's try that. I used all my mojo. Oh no, I've lost my mojo. I've used up all my mojo. Yeah, that's it. Die, fishy. I will end you. Yeah. Now we're really cooking with meow meow. I can't do naughty things like smash the plates when everyone's asleep. I guess then our owner would wake up. And I'm not getting any lasagna. Not getting any lasagna. That's what cats eat, isn't it? I've never actually seen a real cat. I've only read about them in books. Graphic novels. That's what you call comics, isn't it? If you want people to take you seriously as an adult. Have you read the graphic novel Garfield? Sick day, long day, stinky day. Interesting. Maybe I need more information on what these are, but it's kind of funny to not know. Okay. Your owner's happiness will impact the cost of your traps, either positively or negatively. The more time you spend around your owner, the happier they will be. I think I'd like to somehow tone down the traps during the day so that we can just focus on being a day cat now. Because these are very visually obstructive and we don't need them to be here so much now, so... This is a cool little game, yeah. I kill you. I kill you, human. I kill you. It would be cool if there was a little bit more... So, When I think about narrative in games, and particularly like small indie games, I always try and think about like what can you do first that's just purely visual, that's not telling anyone anything. And it would be cool if there was a bit of visual narrative framing about why you're fighting spiritfish in the night. So if it was like in nighttime mode, the cat became like a sort of samurai pizza cats type spirit guardian and had like a little like cool little helmet on, because those spirit fish are very much like they got a kind of, I don't know which Southeast Asian culture we're reaching for here, but a kind of like yokai spirit world creature type vibe to them, and maybe having that applied to the cat as well in the evening period would help it make not necessarily just make more sense, but give it more flavor as to why we've got spirit fish. But yeah, I really like this, and I would just say focus on making sure the weirdest part of the game makes sense, because the weirdest part of the game is also the coolest part of the game. That is often the case. Okay, next one up is I'm just graying out the ones we've covered on my big old spreadsheet as we move through. We're going to check out Replicat. We've got all the cat games. This is a very cat game oriented community. I've noticed we've got at least 3 cat games on the go at the moment, not including the Bapping Cats in Boxes game. Okay, let's check out Replicat. I will just have a quick zoom back through the chat. Let's keep in mind this is a demo version. No! Friendly deck. Score 10 points, score 10 points, score 20 points, stays revealed. Okay. Let's see what this is. Click on pairs to reveal them and find matching pairs to score points. Okay, so we're doing memory pair stuff. Red 10, blue 10. Red 10, blue 10. Blue 10, blue 10. Okay. We're trying to get 5 pairs. Mr. Butterfingers, very charming. UI design here is lovely. You've done the very difficult thing of having lots of different typefaces that look good together, which is very hard to do. Most people shouldn't try and do it, but because you're going for this sort of retro bohemian style, you kind of have to do it. It makes it look like a kind of... Well, it makes it look kind of like just a retro graphic design thing to have all those mixed fonts. It's very hard to pull off, but it looks great here. You have 5 turns and 16 moves per turn. After each turn, cards will be dealt to replace missing ones. So we've got a 4x4 grid and we've got 16 moves. So we've got enough turns to actually look at everything there. I didn't need to look at that one again because I'd already looked at it. Right, red 50 down there. Blue 25 near the bottom left. Red 25 diagonal from it. I'm trying to work out some little way of remembering things, some little mnemonic for myself. Ah! That stays revealed though. Okay, so you can do some engine building by adding more of these stays revealed cards, I guess. Which is interesting because it feels like it's going to make you worse at the game. Am I trying not to score red points? Is that a thing? Okay, ran out of time. This feels great. Every little interaction in this feels really, really good. I had a little bit of a lag there, but my computer seems to be bad for that today. Don't know what's going on. Is that our... Oh, that's our red 50. Okay. very bad short-term memory, so I'm not going to be good at this. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my camera color at the moment. I'm very pink. Maybe I'll tweak it at the end of this stream, but... We're speed playing 8 games in 2 hours today. Yeah. It's quite refreshing to play one of these where you get a decent amount of time. Because most of the time when this is a mini game in something else, it's like you get 4 guesses and then it's over. Yeah, the music's great. The music kind of makes you feel a bit like a buffoon though, so when you're getting it wrong, it kind of feels like the music's taunting you. Burning cards requires a bit of money. Okay. What are we gonna burn? Burn those. We burn those. Just burning all the cards. Not buying anything. Revealing cards at random can make it tough to keep track of what you've seen. Try revealing cards methodically, like starting from the top left. Thank you for giving me a bit of strategic help, because I'm playing this in a rush. I didn't feel like I was really building up a strategy myself. But also, this is well positioned in the game. Like, I find it really irritating, and I think most players do, when you get given too much goal-oriented strategy before you've actually engaged with the game and just seen what the interaction is, right? So I think this is very well placed in the 2E funnel, the first-time user experience, to let you play a game and then give you some sort of advice on the strategy is a good way to go, I think. Oh, that's kind of... The music is so catcall. Oof. I'm just playing too fast, really. I've been doing... When I'm doing well, it's because I'm, like, seeing the things and then waiting for them to turn back and then reminding myself where they are so I can almost see them through the card. And when I don't do that, completely gone from my memory. So it's an interesting... It's an interesting skill to have to learn while playing a video game, because I feel like we do see this. We see this in video games. Slay the Spire has one of these in, for example. But the amount of time you have to do it for is just a couple of rounds, and you either do it or you don't. It's not presented as something you need to try and get better at, which is kind of appealing. I feel like the memory element could make this quite a good streaming game because it would make it a yelling generator, you know? Like, imagine a much more famous, less hairy streamer than me is playing this, and their chat is just going wild, rinsing them for not being able to remember stuff. Quite a good thinking out loud game. But also, it's quite hard to think out loud about it because I'm thinking very visually about where things are. Okay. So there's a pair of numbers, but they don't match color-wise. That's blue, that's red, they're both 25. You know, it's like, that's the kind of relationships I'm trying to remember, and it's quite hard to think them out. That's the red 25 there. But if you slow down and you talk it through, it kind of makes it easier, I guess. Did I have 100? Was that the 100 red up there? No, that was earlier. So you get mixed up with what was where in the last round. Potato, Pink Panther adjacent, that's a very good reference. Yeah, those kind of 60s cartoons that you either... It was either the style for a whole cartoon or it was like an intro sequence. It was like What If Saul Bass but goofy, right? Like the Bewitched intro sequence and stuff like that was kind of this sort of art style. Automatically reveals its pair when revealed. Interesting. Okay, so we've got yellow cards seem to be like a deluxe card. I'm not sure I want to have auto cards. It feels like it's like building the deck around making yourself weaker at the core thing. On turn end, lose 5. Okay. $25, $50, $25, and that's a blue and these are red. No, that's not right. Oh. Extra moves! The extra moves will probably have the potential to be the most game-breaking thing. Because action economy in turn-based games always just ends up being like the variable for everything. It's why 5th edition D&D you can like break by anything that gives you more actions just is broken compared to anything else. Like, if you can choose between, like, oh, doing way more damage on a dice roll or just having another turn is always broken in any turn-based game. Unless you're playing like I am, which is just randomly clicking stuff. Slow down. Engage brain. Okay. Money, 50. 50, 50. 50 red, 25 blue. Money, money. 50 red, 25 blue. 100 red. One tiny UI thing. If the turns is always out of 5, then I would try and make this a visual counter rather than a number. Just because it's just more, it's easier to see out of the corner of your eye. It's kind of like the difference between having a health bar or like Zelda hearts. I think if it's always out of 5, it's usually better to have pips or something. Just because people will notice it quicker. people read shapes quicker than they read text, that kind of thing. And that way, when you've only got like one turn left, this can be a red thing, and then, I mean, maybe that is going to turn red after this turn, but having some guidance down there would let me know when I should be concentrating harder or whatever, although you should be concentrating for every turn, I guess, which is why I'm not doing so well. Ah. Okay, that's saved us, I think, because we're going to bank that 100 and we're just about going to win this round, even though I shouldn't really win this round because I'm just being very random. It feels very well balanced already. Like, I can just about cheese it through randomness early on, but I can imagine this quickly getting to a point where if you're not playing it skillfully, you fail miserably. That's lovely. We have to move on. This has got lots going for it that's really solid. Yeah. I really like the formula of it's Balatro but, and the but is actually quite a big but. A big departure. It's not just, oh, but the numbers are slightly different or something. It's actually asking us to exercise a different skill, you know? We're going to check out Replist now, which I think I have downloaded already. Yes. I did try and download everything beforehand, but then I had lots and lots of these things that didn't have the name of the game on. So just a general thing, like try and make sure your downloads have the game title in, because when someone is downloading lots of things at the same time, you're just going to end up with an easily deleted thing in their downloads folder because your thing is called Video Game 300 or something like that. Repli. Okay. This is a Deceit Dixit thing again, right? Like everyone calls Dixit. It's supposed to be deceit, like pronounced the French way, because then it's like a pun on the word deceit, but everyone calls it Dixit. Right. Let's check it out. This game is designed to challenge you as a detective or mystery-solving person. Okay. You won't be helped or assisted by the game. We recommend taking notes and in-game photos or screenshots while playing to keep track of information to help you deduce or solve the mystery. Okay, I'm not going to get that full experience because we'll just eat into the time very quickly if I do that, but let's give it a go. Joel something to Morgan something else. Hey Morgan, I finally got some good news for once. I found a clue as to what happened to your mentor. Long story short, turns out that Alex bought a car, equipment and a house in a small town located in a big desert just before disappearing years ago. Weird. That's not weird. I'd like a little desert house. This doesn't explain why she suddenly disappeared, but at least she doesn't seem to have been kidnapped. To me, it looks like she went into hiding. Maybe because of her last job. Whistleblowers tend to grow enemies fast. Anyway, I suppose you will travel there to find her and have an explanation. Her family was right to ask her favourite Padawan for keep tracking her. One definitely needs a hacker. Oh, my mistake. I mean a cybersecurity expert to track another one. I'm sending you a brand new safer phone, meaning empty, through the usual way with the coordinates, some useful instructions, all the info I gathered so far. Okay. This is quite a lot of text in one go. And there may be a way to break that up if you have it in like separate text messages that you click through or something, just to give players a little bit more to do rather than just scroll. But okay, we've got the whole setup. If you look at the UX of how text is presented in Inkle games, like 80 Days, they do a fantastic job of having incredibly text-heavy games, but because it's like 2 sentences click, 2 sentences click, it you're engaging, and then people don't rush through the text as much. Kind of. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Welcome to town name. Wobbly unreal terrain hills, I know you well. This is my brum brum. I can just leave. I've left my phone. I get my smartphone. Neat. I can use it to turn a light on. Okay. Let me in. I want to come in your town. On date missing town name on order of mayor name, the inhabitant of town name are to be relocated immediately to closest town name. The name of town name shall be made inaccessible for an undetermined duration. Please contact mayor name and his administration. This is a good setup. This is immediately presenting us with some strange, mysterious thing about the world without telling us about it, just kind of making us ask questions, which is exactly what you want to do in this kind of game, I guess. I've got a weird... I needed to escape to get out of that. Okay, so I read the little thing. I inspect the gate. The town's been barricaded. Handle doesn't budge. Needs a key. Okay. We're going to go in the diner. The kind of small town out in the desert thing is making me think of... is it called Asteroid City? What's the Wes Anderson film? I feel like you could go down that route of having very, very saturated colours and like 1950s postcard aesthetic here. Right, we can run, we can toggle run, I can hide this message. I thought I had a light on my smartphone a moment ago, but I don't think I do. Please recharge to boot. Oh no. Okay. We've got escape used for getting out of a lot of interactions, which feels quite... I don't know, it feels a bit extreme. I can scroll through my bag with the mouse wheel. That feels reasonably intuitive. Okay, escape. Hide that message. You can pick stuff up and put it places. Okay. Because we're playing a low art prototype at the moment, when I pick stuff up like this, it kind of... I don't know if it has meaning as a puzzle, or if it's just like showing me how interactions work, you know? It's something you can't see. No sounds, phone's offline. Okay, I need to recharge my phone. This game is too real. I like the vibe of it. We're getting kind of we're gonna do some mystery stuff, but it's kind of giving like kind of Firewatchy vibes. Like we're gonna get some sort of like cartoony, non-violent, immersive sim type thing. Like not a walking simulator, because we've got too many object interactions where you can actually carry something around and potentially use it somewhere else. But yeah, I can kind of see an art style in my head for this that would be really nice. And but we've also got some kind of hacking stuff going on in the story, and yeah, sort of Twin Peaks in the desert, like kind of retro kitschy weirdness. But yeah, I need to charge my smartphone. There's nowhere here for me to do it. So when you've got something in your hand, you can like right click and then it goes onto the surface, and then you left click to put it on the surface and leave it there. That interaction feels quite smooth. That felt quite easy to grasp. But I don't know what I would use it for. So it's like there's this thing I can do, and it feels okay. It's a good interaction. I can't see what the use case for it would be in this prototype yet. It just feels like it's like, here is how we place objects in this world. But I have no sense of what that would be used for. There's some cars here. Are they abandoned? Yeah, I'm not too worried about whether or not we progress and get out of the first area, to be honest. I just want to see how things work. Not very deserty footstep sounds, of course. I'm going to go back to my own car. Okay. Yeah, I'm done. Nothing to see here. Town name, River House. Okay, is the next thing I need to do in the River House? Ah. Hello. Okay, we're gonna do some arson. We're gonna do some arson now. Very nice door. Gonna burn this TV. Ah. I see. I forgot this is a video game. What do we do in video games? We crouch. We crouch and we go under things. A classic video game activity. $9,995. Huh. There's something, but it's too dark. That doesn't look like a door that would have a keypad. I'm a little bit worried I'm going to run out of lighter. Ah, a lion statuette. Danny, if you forgot again, check under the you-know-what. Don't forget to clean the toilets. Contact the advertising. Order the barbecue sauce. Must find better job. Order some aquatic balloons. Call this is... I picked up the lion thing, but I can't see here. So we go back into the light. Get my lion statuette out. I inspect it. Hello, lion. Yay. 0451. I think you did an alright job there of making that not feel like a contrived puzzle. That felt reasonably naturalistic, which is quite hard to do. And I think, what was it, 0451? Valid. I think sometimes with puzzle games, you just have to go all in on the puzzles being weird and just expect the player to accept it, because, like, I don't know, if you play the puzzles in Silent Hill and Resident Evil were just so weird and not something that would be in that place. Do not enter with just your lighter. You'll break stuffs again and I'll get fired. I put a lantern in the back outside. Okay. So we're doing a lot of management of light here. Don't know what fans are for yet, but there seem to be a lot of them. So I feel like there is going to be some weird thing with directional placement of fans at some point, but we're going to have to move on to the next game in about a minute. So there is something in... I examined the fuse box. Everything looks fine in there, except there is no power at all. The power's been cut upstream. 2116. So getting the power on here is probably going to involve going outside, if that's the thing we need to do. Or we need to go outside to get the lantern. So we're going to have to probably find another way in the back gate or something. But it feels... yeah, it's a good setup. It feels like we get to doing... We quickly get to doing some like interactions that assures us that this is a... when I say it's not a walking simulator, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with walking simulators. I think those types of games are, you know, I don't like the title, but it is effectively like you are learning a story by interacting with an environment. This feels more like it is directly a puzzle game, and what you've done is onboard us into that very, very quickly, which is good. If whatever type of game you're making, you want players to understand pretty quickly what they're doing, and this is very quickly going, you know, this is a puzzle game where your kind of physical interactions with the environment are going to be what matters and allows you to search for clues and stuff. So kind of reminds me a little bit of did you ever play The Observer, which was that game that I think it was made in Poland. It was like the last thing that Rutger Hauer did a voiceover in before he died. That had a lot of these kind of very sort of simulationist first person environment interactions in it and stuff. So I would play that if you haven't played it yet, because it's got some interesting puzzle design in. Cool. Let's move on to the next one. Repli. I cannot get out of that app. Next on the list, we have Replica, and then we had Repli, which is a funny little thing because they sound the same. Horticulture. This was... Is this... Did I Right, I've set that to download. Not Linux. What do you think this is? And then Legion of Two. I don't know if that plays in the browser or not. It feels like the type of game that would get a lot more kind of traffic if it played in the browser. You know, when I think of like little action game. Just right, so we've got two games on the way downloading. I'll just check the chat and see if we've got any questions or anything coming up so far. The back door, I unlocked it, but it seems the feedback was not clear. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so I think that's the kind of thing where it's like... that can give you a good sense of what it's worth polishing up a bit sooner. Is like, what are the interactions in your game that communicate something? So something like unlocking a door or whatever. Like, in your game, whatever the core activity is... I think sometimes people can think, oh, I won't do that until later because it's polish. And it's like, yes, but if it is one of the main gameplay verbs, then it is worth polishing in the prototype. So, you know, in a month or two's time, with that game that we just saw with Ripley, it would be in a good position if, you know, interactions like unlocking a door had proper sound effects and a bit of visual communication. And then even if we still had like placeholder, Unreal landscape in the background, that doesn't matter. It's like polish the main things the player is doing first. Let's check out Gorticulture now. I haven't seen this since the jam that it came from. Funny little game concept. You're sort of growing plants using you're doing like Quake gardening. You're playing Quake and doing gardening at the same time.
We don't need any.
The toilet assets test, yeah. I mean, the thing is, you can keep placeholder assets in a game for a very, very long time, and I think as you really play test, try to identify what people don't understand, and then as you make those bits of the game clearer, like those core interactions, or it might be objects where people look at it and they go, I don't know what that is, and it's like, okay, we need to put a higher fidelity version of that object in, or whatever, or if it's pixel art, oh, we need to draw a line around that, whatever it is. As you do that, the art style will emerge, you know, but then you can I think we talked before about beautiful corners, which is like when you have a grey box game and then you have one area of the game where you make it in the target art style, sort of like a art vertical slice in this beautiful corner. I think you can do that, but you sort of localize it around the objects that you're interacting with, and then the art style emerges from that, and then later on you go around and you apply it to the rest of the game. A playtest by Gamma and Toad. This is... I really like the way that we've got this sort of interactive start screen that kind of just immediately introduces you to the tone of the game. Oh, we've got gore, but it's kind of silly, cartoony gore. And I can even see... I think the gore in the original was just like balls of meat, but here we've specifically got like 90s edgelord boomer shooter demon guys that have been blown up. I can pick up the music player. Amazing. That's great already. So the thing with this game is the first time I played it when we did our collab jam earlier in the year was it didn't have a clear goal. And I think that was okay because this is the type of game I would think of as like a toy first game where what's really good, it's like they've developed a vibe and then they've developed a set of interactions that are just kind of intrinsically interesting to try and do if you're a sicko. And look at the little twiddly bone on the end of that. So we are growing plants and doing gardening, but we're doing it using dead characters from a boomer shooter. I'm going to plant some plants on this monster's head. We're all just... So many of us in the Indie Game Clinic community are just sprinting headlong at the cozy horror genre. I don't know if it's like a specific intersection of like the taste of the people that watch this channel and like the type of sense of humor and stuff, but we've just ended up with quite a few cozy horror games on the go, which is like, whether or not you explicitly call this that, that's what people are going to call it eventually because of the mix of genres and tones. Ah, some lovely flowers. Time to harvest. So when I harvest them, I get seeds back of the plant. So I'm basically doing... Oh, look, the meat is getting drained of its saturation as the blood is used up in the plant growing. But, so it feels like this is kind of like a sort of tycoon clicker type game because you're investing resources, waiting a little while, and then getting more resources back. But it's sort of physicalized in an environment that makes it a lot more fun to interact with. You know, I was working at a mobile studio before I went into teaching at university between like 2015 and 2018. I was working at a mobile studio, and it was like shortly after we'd had the big clicker games like Cookie Clicker and Adventure Capitalist, and everyone was starting to make mobile free-to-play clicker games. So I spent a lot of time having to play them and research them and stuff, playing incremental games, clicker games, those sorts of things. And I never really hated them, but I didn't like the fact that the interaction was so dull. Like, you know, they're called clicker games for a reason. And I really like the idea of just taking that same economy, like number always goes up type relaxing chill business thing and applying it in a context where you get to do something that's a bit more tactile and physically interesting, which I think is kind of what's going on with this. It's like you plant plants to get more plants, and whee! And then these guys, they mop up the blood when you throw them, and then they become red, and then I think you can either plant plants in them or you can use them to water other plants. Let's put the metal on. I long for the metal. I have to carry my music around with me if I want it to be the correct volume. Be able to get a headphones upgrade that turns the spatiality off of the music. So can I fill these watering cans up with these? No, I can't. That's not a... Equip. I can water plants with water? That's no fun. I keep doing that. I keep buying stuff and then immediately clicking. It's because I keep thinking click is going to pick something up, and it's not. I don't know how helpful the inspect button is. Like, I'd be tempted to say left click for use and right click for pick up on things, or something like that. Plants only grow with bloody water. You fool. How do I make the water bloody? The game is just not interested in teaching you through any means but you working out yourself, which I can kind of respect to a degree. I think you get a lot of goodwill in this game out of just how funny a lot of the basic things you can do are. Which I think means players will be a little bit more willing to work it out themselves. Ah, it's a buddy. Hello, buddy. Is this our tutorial character? No. I don't have a mess to clean up. How dare you? That's what I think of you. So yeah, if the goal is actually to clean up the level, then it feels quite insurmountable. So it's the idea that I would use these to clean up and then get rid of them. Oh! Video games allow us to experience things we'd never be able to do in real life. Like sink a 2-point throw. Oh. It's giving me like flashbacks of playing Blood when I was a kid, the vampire shooter, and there was a scene where you could sprint at a decapitated head, and there was nothing in the game that told you, oh, you can kick this, but if you ran into it, it like triggered it like being kicked like a soccer ball, like a football, and yeah, you could just spend ages playing football with a head. It's kind of same vibe, same energy. Excuse me. In you go. Please. What's ah. Well, that's a way to that's an interesting way to put a dev tool in your game. I'll just have the big jump height, thank you very much. Little Godot bot in there. Occasionally, when you pronounce Godot correctly on the internet, lots of people turn up to type out it's Godot, and I like to think that actually those are conspiracy theorists that don't believe in France. I like to think that's what's going on with those people. Well, I need to move on to the next one. This game is still feels like a toy first game, and long may it be that, because I think having to work out what you're doing a little bit is quite fun, and I do think you get quite a lot of goodwill out of your players by how toy-like everything is. Look at the way that the eyeball has a delayed movement compared to the rest of the head. That's fantastic. But this is so conceptually just goofy and enjoyable. Like, I could play this for quite a while, but I need to move on. What was the next one? We've got Pandora next. This one has been on the go for a while. I saw this like 6 months ago last time, I think. It's an interesting one because it kind of looks like it's going to be Contra or Metal Slug, and then you start playing it and it's a bit closer to something like Commandos. One of the things I do feel quite strongly about this game is there's quite a big disparity between how nice the game world and all of the action looks, and then like the typography and the UX and stuff. So we got like this manual that feels very sort of placeholder dev art type stuff. Like, it feels like everything you can see in the game world has been developed to a very high standard, and that makes things like the tutorial boxes and stuff feel very out of place, and like they really need a lot of love to bring them up to the same standard. Like, if I was making this, I would be looking at Metal Slug and all of the games that share the kind of pixel art aesthetic with it, and then I would be looking at what they do for the text and what they do for any pop-ups and stuff like that, and starting to try and make these interface elements match up with that style, because at the moment they just still feel like placeholder. And there's like a, yeah, it's like trying to get a parity across your game of like the level of quality, because this is starting to feel like release level quality across all of the bits apart from the stuff I talked about, and that's going to put people off of playtesting it and wishlisting and stuff if it looks very polished but with all of these things that feel placeholder. R to manually reload, unlimited magazines, pistol. Okay. And again, we're still doing a lot of upfront telling rather than, you know, ideal tutorial in an action game. It just tells you to do a thing. It doesn't tell you why. You do it, and then if there's some qualifier, it tells you to do the thing slightly different. You do it. You don't get all of this pre-explanation. Okay, so basically the way that the shooting in this works is the longer... Oh, okay, I'm using a different weapon. With the different weapons have like different kind of aiming and firing logic. We've gone straight to an automatic, which is different. So I managed to get through it anyway. Crouch behind covers. So we're doing WAS to move, and then we're aiming with the mouse. We've got shift to run, and it's kind of a deal where we pick up the weapon of the last guy we killed, and that changes our weapon sometimes. It does feel very cinematic, the push and pull of the combat, this game. Continue? Mate, you're standing next to a red barrel. Do you know nothing?
Alarm!
Good, we got the audio right. Excellent. Yeah, with ducking, you still want to be able to hear it when it ducks. Just not as loud. Revolver. Luger. I think the ground circles for the weapons feel a bit strange. I think what I would do for this is have like a yellow sheen when we've got items on the ground. Have a yellow sheen that goes zoop, 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 to highlight them, because those look like RTS character selection circles, right? It looks like I'm going to click on that and then tell that gun to walk along the ground. It's okay to highlight where the player is, but it feels a bit weird. Yeah, I think all of the areas are one screen. I quite like that, though. It gives you, like, a sense of anticipation, and you're planning, which makes you feel kind of... It feels asymmetrical. It feels like a Rambo or like a classic Commando movie where it's against all odds, you know, you're outnumbered, but also your character just seems to be more kind of smart and canny than the others, so that kind of... What's going on with the information where you can see everything and then the enemies have, you know, presumably limited line of sight, but you don't. I think that kind of fits the sort of movie genre that this is sort of targeting. Like all of this text, like suppressed, advanced, finishing, we need little icons for that. We need stuff that looks like it matches the art style. I don't want to read 4 words as pop-up text when I'm shooting in a shooting game, you know? We need a visual way to represent when the character is suppressed and vulnerable that isn't putting 4 words on the screen. Chop it, choppity chop. Sniper rifle. Okay, so the sniper rifle is click and hold. So what would be good is if we could have a reminder up near the gun of what type of firing controls it uses. And then you might not even need to tutorialize it if it's just always up there. If it says click and hold or has some iconography for that. I think shift is to throw Molotovs. Again, we just need a lot more kind of control context along the top of like, tell me how this fires in a simple way with a little icon, and then if it's shift to throw Molotov, put a shift key next to it. You've got an interface for a reason. You don't need to have like a full page of instruction manual like this, and then not put all that on the interface. I don't know if this game is made by using someone else's art assets, and that's why we have such a big disparity between the style of the pixel art in the game and then the interface. But it feels like the developer doesn't like making art for the interface, and that makes the game feel like there's just such a high quality of pixel art and animation and explosions and everything that is in the diegesis of the world, and then as soon as something is an interface thing, it's just not up to the same standard. And that's both in terms of like choices about how to communicate things and just like the visual style of it. Okay, you are all going to get exploded.
Find.
That felt so good. So good.
Find.
How about you stop shooting me? How about that? I think it is shift to throw stuff. Yeah. Throwing firebombs at Nazis. It's what we like to do.
Alarm!
It's like such an uneven quality, this game. There's so much of it that is really, really good that feels like release level. Like all of the character art, explosions, the feel of the shooting, all feels like it's at release level, and the UI and everything needs to catch up. And it might just be one of those things where it's like, if the dev that's working on this doesn't like doing that side of things, they might just need to get someone else involved, because doing UI is hard. Doing pixel art UI is hard. Okay, I will silence them. I think I will. I will silence the Nazi propaganda machine. That's what I came here to do. Oh. Use your pistol. We've also got to zoom in on the scroll, which feels a bit strange because then you can't move the thing around and it just gets blurry. I would use the scroll wheel for changing weapons instead, I think. I really like the overall game feel of this, and the way it kind of maps onto the fantasy of being this type of hero is really good. Just like you're constantly making decisions about whether you are being careful or whether you're being gung-ho and just walking forward like trying to be a hero kind of thing. It feels really good. Just needs really needs a lot of love on the GUI side of things and the HUD. Right, let's move on to the next one. I'm quitting. Yeah, we get a load of art assets from... I don't know what with that, but I think it's like... We've got some sort of open source base game and then edits made to it. Okay, we are looking at God of Terror and Light Rider for the last two. So, Light Rider is on itch, which I already have open. Download that. I think we saw this like a month or two ago. It's like a top-down action game. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Monaco, because it's like top-down action, but it's stealth. And then God of Terror, I think... This had a bit of a feel of the old single-player MMO to it, you know? Like, just that kind of vibe. Like first Witcher game. What is going on with this screen capture? Okay. This game did this the first time I had it on a stream. It did this weird screen squashing stuff. So when I don't have the screen focused, it goes to the right size, and then when I go and focus on it, the stream squashes it again. Probably because it's defaulting to a strange aspect ratio, which is not... Okay. I think you can at least see the game at the right kind of aspect ratio now. I'm not going to mess around with it anymore because... Turn the graphics preset down to medium as well because... It's always unoptimized, and when you make very kind of high-def games, you should really have the default not on the highest, because people will load the game up, and then if their PC slows down so much they can't even navigate the menu to turn it down, then you've lost a player. Yeah, you're still getting a different aspect ratio to what I'm seeing on my screen. Just, But I can't de-squish it, and I don't want to spend the entire time on this game trying to mess around with the camera, so we'll just go with that for now. So we start off in this big sort of citadel, and I am not going to do any of the story stuff because there was some story stuff before, and I've seen it before. You know, I think generally the way that the interactions with the NPCs and stuff in this feels not great so far, but I do like this. I like this kind of sort of 70s sci-fi book color vibe that we have to the world, you know? We are dressed like a Jedi. We're gonna go out into the world with our gunslinging guns, and there's a big orb up there and I don't know why. But I do like this kind of... It feels science fantasy, right? It feels very much like a Roger Dean kind of fantasy art book cover type thing. Dodge left control, okay. Lot of camera blur and stuff that I think is harming the gameplay to a degree. No way to turn it off. Okay. I love the slowdown on the rolls. That was a big fall to just... One thing I appreciate about this is that it very much just feels like a collection of stuff that the developer thinks is cool. And I respect that. And I'm a big fan. I mean, it's kind of the Hideo Kojima way of making games, right? It's just like putting stuff in because it's cool. Like, why is that orb raining black stuff down? I don't know. It's cool. It's like the heavy metal album cover approach to creative direction. I've got stuck falling down there now, though. It's a little bit too easy to just jump off something and die in this earlier area. This is a very strange interior decor design in here. It kind of feels like this is like a cocktail bar or something. Like a swanky cocktail bar. It's like where they go at the end of an episode of Ally McBeal and watch someone play the piano. Right, I don't know what's going on with this darkness. Maybe you've done the classic game developer thing of thinking, surely we need a day and night cycle as quickly as possible. But you're going to have to make the visibility better if you're going to do that. And I'm not sure what it really adds. What the day-night cycle is adding for me at the moment is I have fallen off a cliff twice, even when it's daylight, and now it's even harder to see where I'm going. So I think the camera is a little bit close to the character. I think it's a little bit too easy to get to the edge of something and not realize you're on the edge of something, and it's because the camera is so close in. So yeah, we're doing Ally McBeal references here. I'm a 90s kid. You come to Indie Game Clinic, you get Ally McBeal. We're talking about Tool and 9 Inch Nails. And I will have a strange bias towards your game if it has a slightly janky Nickelodeon Beavis and Butthead type art style. That's just part of what you get here. I can't be objective about these things. You activated a light beacon. It fell in battle and will be returned to your light beacon. Yeah, I think basically, if you're making a third-person over-the-shoulder action game in 2025, all of your camera and control norms should be taken from Fortnite. And I know we're all indie hipsters here. I know we all want to pretend we've never played a Fortnite. But if you're making a game that uses this control scheme, you should study Fortnite. You should study how Fortnite does its camera, how it goes from running to aiming, all of that stuff, because it set the standard and the norm for what anyone playing a game with that camera angle expects. You know, Fortnite, if it's a shooting game, if it's a sword melee game, then Breath of the Wild. I don't think you should ever look at big AAA games and base your idea of the scope of your game and your like aspirations for how many systems your game will have in it. But when it comes to like UX norms of how does something control, how do the cameras and stuff feel, then yeah, go to the biggest popular game in that genre and just, you know. And I just think the camera's a little bit too tight to us in this. And as someone in the chat said, yeah, you need to be able to see the character's feet to be able to platform. Why can I only reload my right gun? Have I not got enough ammo to reload both of them? Some of the enemy designs are a bit goofy. I like this guy. I like this guy more than the little red imps. I'm not sure why. I think the chunkiness just makes them look a bit less like a video game character. All of the sounds for the enemies are pretty great though. It's kind of giving Power Rangers Putty Patrol kind of. And you're surrounded by these guys and they're all going. Where is Rita Repulsa when you need her? Dancing baby, am I right? Yeah. I think the typography in this game is very poor. I think the interface feels quite weak. I think the camera needs sorting out. The basic controls of moving and attacking feel pretty good. The gun sound effects are good. Nice solid feeling to shooting things and hitting them. And I really, really love this kind of psychedelic metal, just heavy metal album cover vibe. And I think the more you can lean into that, the better. Like, just keep leaning into that and don't stop, because that will be what attracts people to this. That is the appealing part. All the other things are things you can just get better at over time. You can get better at typography and graphic design and interfaces, or you get enough people behind the idea and behind this psychedelic metal world that other people want to join in and help you on the project and help you fix those things, which is one of the things that I hope happens through our community is, people see someone else's game and go, oh, that's really cool, but that bit of it is weak and I could do a better job of that. And, I hope that happens with some of these games, because sometimes you see a game and it is just so strong in one direction, but the weaknesses of the game hold it back so much. And it's often hard to tell whether that is because the developer is genuinely weak at that part or if they just find it boring. Like with the previous game, with Pandora, the pixel art game, it's like, is this a developer blind spot? Do they not understand that the interface looks bad, that the text looks bad? Or is it just that they don't like working on that bit because it's not fun? And that is the problem with trying to cross this threshold between doing something as a hobby and doing it as a professional, is that you have to do the bits that aren't fun eventually, which is kind of what my Riding the Spiral video was about, which was like, you have to pass through the bits of the project that you're not interested in. And if you can't do that because you just can't bring yourself to do it, like I'm like it with code. I'm not a good programmer. I do not understand like fundamental computer science concepts. And is that the next game? And so I am trying to learn those. I'm trying to get better at them, but I also get help from other people, because otherwise the rate of progress is just so slow. Someone record me and put me in the game. I don't record me doing what? I don't even know what I said. So this is our sort of top-down stealth sci-fi game. Stop telling me about security scans just because I'm trying to play a hacking robots games. Okay, do I have to let it do that to open up this Unity game? There we go. Okay. Oh, the enemy sounds. Yeah, I love making a sound of a little goblin man. That's going to be my career after this. Voice acting for characters that don't say words. That will be my shtick. If anyone else survives. The ship went silent, then the droids, they turned on us. I'm still hiding in the droid repair bay. Okay, so we're doing sort of silent running, 70s sci-fi, Space Odyssey. We've got the interface design. The music is hitting that note perfectly. It's like very specifically that late 70s feel to the interface and the music. It's kind of working together to give that. So I'm a Roomba. Spinning it around like that feels really satisfying. It's because it's like looks slightly offset, which makes it feel a bit more physical. I need to use the shield repair station to fix the droid shields. Okay. Okay. Pressing E doesn't feel like it does anything there. Maybe that went up, but we need like something localized on the thing you're interacting with. I will consume your battery. Has the music stopped now? I can't hear them both at the same time. Yeah, totally giving Blade Runner soundtrack. Searching the droid. I need to use the computer to unlock the door. Okay, I think so. This already feels like it's a massive step up from the last time I played it. It's a lot more atmospheric. I can't really tell what's changed in terms of like the onboarding and how it's teaching us to play the game. But it's feeling great. There are you've got like some visual design rules to the world, like the doors have this green thing next to them that it opens into. And that's interesting. It's like you have to gradually learn those visual rules of what a thing in the level is. The camera is very, very close, but I guess that's kind of where we're going to get our scary reactiveness from. So that's a deactivated droid. I really like the way that this is like a kind of classic stealth enemy line of sight mechanic, but you've presented it as light instead, because it really adds a lot of mood. I don't know if we're going to be able to see moving enemies if we're not like in line with them, because we haven't seen that yet. But you've really slowed down the pace here, so we get some mood and atmosphere and just learning to control things before we get attacked by anything, because yeah, the first play I had of this was just getting brutally murdered 5 times in a row. I just put my timer on. Oh, yeah, so, okay, so we can't see them unless we can see them, but then we can track them with the sonar blip and then... Did they see me? Yeah, they're chasing me. Okay. Yeah, so the sonar currently looks like it's over everything. It would be cool if it kind of clipped through the walls, so it looked like it was spreading out on the floor. It's so cool, though. What was the game that was like retro sci-fi base building that was basically Dungeon Keeper? I think it was Maya. This is a very similar aesthetic to that. Is that a sleepy one? Yes. I've got a weapon. Okay. So this is also kind of warning me that if I see one of these big star robots, they're probably going to be armed to the teeth, because that's a dead one that I got a weapon off of. Okay. This is very well paced. You're teaching me the stuff through doing. I do wonder about the kind of voice, because I understand that in the game you're kind of playing the character that is controlling the droid. I wonder if in the long term with this game you might want to eventually have like the human controller character here is like a little shadowed portrait or something. Like maybe it's like the player is playing as the droid and the droid is kind of an AI like Star Wars droids, and then the human is talking to them. I kind of feel like that's the vibe you're going for with the voice of the kind of sort of narrative direction type thing that's going on up here, but it's hard to say. But that's something that will come out in the wash over time. It's like, it's definitely not a now thing, you know? Can Can I leave now? I need to go on the computer. So yeah, I was yammering on there and I've lost my sense of my next objective now. Okay, cool. That needs a big, like big kind of diagonal lines on the floor with a big exit on it, you know, like just that kind of thing. The first run actually worked. I only crossed paths with one hostile and somehow I managed to bring back what I needed. A light, a radar, and a weapon module. Yeah, you could even give, if you have the human as a character, you could even give them their own color coding, you know, like the human is an astronaut in an orange suit and their text is in orange or something, and then we have like a clear distinction between when we're seeing a bit of narrative and when we're seeing the interface text for like you are repairing a thing or whatever. I could go on and on about that kind of stuff for ages. I worked on a mobile game once that was kind of a Firefly type space western setting, and we had such a long debate about what color this kind of CRT thing should be, and I was like, come on guys, they're space cowboys, it needs to be yellow, it needs to look kind of dry and deserty to evoke the space cowboy thing, but it went on for weeks. Like, no, it should be green, it's a CRT screen. Yes, but it's a CRT screen in a space cowboy world. This is why Fallout New Vegas has a yellow CRT screen. It was that kind of that kind of debate. Okay, no battery. I need to find another robo to eat. Ah! Ah! Okay, I'm gonna let myself die and go back and then have one more run. You seem to already have got the thing about stealth games as well as like what happens when it goes wrong, and that moment of like dashing through the level trying to get away from stuff still felt fun, and that's a really hard thing to nail in stealth games generally. It's like you don't want people to just retry when they get caught. You want the getting away to be sort of a mini game in its own right, and you know, it's like when people talk about GTA and they're like, oh, GTA is not really promoting doing these things because you get chased by the police. And it's like, yeah, getting chased by the police is part of the fun of what you're doing. Excuse me. Okay, so if I destroy them like that, I pick up this... I pick up battery, okay. And I need to press F to consume battery, I see. Okay. What I would do as well, because generally we're using the pointer to point at things in the world rather than things in the kind of GUI screen space. This tooltip you've got here that says F to consume battery, I would make that automatically appear when you've got batteries and your battery is low, because I had to search around for that a little bit, and it's not very intuitive to be using the mouse for aiming and then also need to use the mouse to check out things in the HUD. So I would just make this text come up when you've got a low battery down here. Okay, last attempt, and then we will wrap things up for today. We'll be back tomorrow with the regular Thursday Indies Under the Knife stream. I can't remember what's on the schedule. I will have a look in a sec. So yeah, like I said, when we first saw the dead one that was a star shape, that created this expectation that those are going to be tough, and it was tough. That's a nice bit of like sort of foreshadowing, I guess. It's kind of a classic thing. Ah, there you go. You didn't have a bug with the menu music. The game was just open twice, so that's what was happening there. Okay. I mean, can I jump into level 3? Is there a way I can jump into level 3 without playing those through again? Yes, okay, let's do it quickly. Find the EMP weapon, destroy all hostiles, return home. Ooh. 5748 4F. Someone's trying to hack me. Don't know why I keep shooting the dead ones. Just stupid. That is transmitting something, I guess. Oh. We've got the EMP weapon. Okay, destroy all hostiles. Don't mind if I do. I feel like you could... I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I feel like you could tie the radar to your battery level as well, so it cuts out when it's a certain when it's not as high. So you'd have like, it feels like it could be quite punishing, but it might give you another sort of a bigger sense of risk of not loading your battery up in time and stuff like that. I don't know. Because it's a tool that's constant, and that makes the noise potentially a bit annoying. It's kind of going off all of the time. And I think maybe having a way that you could lose it temporarily under certain conditions would make it feel more like a power and a reward and stuff. But at the moment, it's just you just always have it. And that makes it feel slightly irritating as well. Oh. How about no? How about we don't do that? How do I switch to the EMP? I've got an EMP, I don't know how to use it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think maybe instead of having everything use battery, you can have features that cut in and out at different battery levels. You know, so you could have like a point at this that when it's below that, you lose your sonar. Again, that might feel like double punishing players with low health, but yeah, I'm not sure. The something trying to hack you is cool. I think the only thing about it is... So in terms of the thing you wanted feedback on... okay, didn't get the... Yeah. The thing trying to hack you, the only thing I would say is the way that the text appears makes me feel like it's a sequence that I need to memorize or something like that. If that's your intention, then that's fine. Like, people can see it and go, okay, that's a code. If it's not meant to be a code, if the numbers are meant to be meaningless, then I would make them more clearly meaningless. Like have a of lots of different characters. So at the moment, I like the effect. It's a cool narrative moment of being like, what's going on? My robot is being interfered with. But yeah, at the way that the text appears in a chunk of like 3 2s as 6 characters like that makes it seem like you're supposed to memorize what those numbers are. So I would either make them alien symbols if the numbers themselves aren't relevant, make them alien symbols, or make it like a matrixy, like the numbers are changing the whole time type thing. Yeah, that feels like it's come on a long way. There's lots of kind of little bits of polish in different directions, and I really like the way that you're sticking to the kind of low poly geometric overall thing and just piling on interface and lighting and ambient sound and stuff. It really feels like you're spending your time and effort in places in that game that kind of yield the best results for you. So I'm really pleased to see how that one's going. Yeah, I think there's lots of ways of kind of portraying that we as a robot are being hacked. It could be like we're seeing our own error messages or something like that. So yeah, tomorrow I am checking out Age of the Deep, which is actually another one of our community members' games, but it was in the Indies Under the Knife queue before they joined, I think. So this one looked like a reasonably big game that we need at least an hour on, so I thought I'd just give it its own stream. So I've been alternating between streams where we play a lot of games quickly and things where we spend longer on one game. Just depends on what kind of thing it is. And because today we had the Discord community stream and I knew I'd be playing 8 games very quickly, I wanted to make sure that tomorrow was a bit slower. So we'll be checking out Age of the Deep. I still want to try and do a community playtest for Lawyer. I don't know if you remember seeing Lawyer on here before. That was like the base building game where you build a house moving castle type thing. There's a chance we can get some keys and do like a big mass community playtest of that, and I would really like to do that at some point as well if people are up for that. But tomorrow, Age of the Deep, we're gonna be a fashion mermaid. Unreconstructed males are going to come in the chat and go, "Why are you playing a girls' game?" And we'll have fun telling them that there's no such thing or whatever. And yeah, thank you all for joining today. I need to hop off and grab something to eat before my next call, but really great to see some new games and to see all the progress on the ones we've seen before. And we'll be doing this in 2 weeks' time again with games from the Discord. So if you've got a build ready and it wasn't ready for this week, 2 weeks' time, the Playtesting and QA channel, there is a spreadsheet on there. Just add your game in there. And back to regular Indies Under the Knife tomorrow, because that's what we do every Thursday.